Are we recording?
Yes, we're starting.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
Hey, it's Joe.
We have a special guest this week for joining us for the third week in a row. Thank you so much, Mr. Jason Jani. How do we get the pleasure of all your valuable time here? This is awesome.
We got 90 minutes out of this kid.
I know, right? We had to start at 8:30 in the morning, but we got 90 minutes out of it.
I'm with it. I was up. I was ready.
Yeah, he was. Hair was done and everything. We were like, oh, he's rolling out of bed. But nah, he's shaved. His hair's popping.
Yeah, I got fancy pants on. I'm ready.
No,
fancy pants.
Oh, he's got some plaids on. Okay, those are nice. Those are nice.
I got fancy pants. I'm ready for this.
So we should mention, as we always do, we are pre-recording this episode. We're pre-recording this one because the two gentlemen joining me are at DJ Collective this week. They're in Scottsdale, Arizona, while I'm back here in Jersey. But thank you, guys. And we say that just in case something earth-shattering happened in the field of entertainment or DJing. And we aren't talking about it. It's not because we're tone deaf. It's because that's in the future.
That is in the future.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for being here.
I wanted to talk about content this week and the importance of capturing it, which I'm sure is probably obvious to our listeners, but also how. The how is really important. And this was inspired by a post that Joe Bunn put up on Instagram on October 25th. So not too long ago now as we record this, but when we drop it almost a month ago. It's a great shot of you behind your board with the bride, and I guess is that the groom as well next to you?
Yeah.
And this might be one of my favorite wedding pictures ever. Sweaty, happy, and in full party mode. And I just thought that image is worth, I know they say what, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This image is worth thousands of dollars. And how'd you get it? And
man, It's interesting because I was in Asheville, North Carolina, which is 4 hours from here. I usually don't go that far. It's in the mountains. And I didn't know any of the other vendors. Had never played at this place. It was the inn at the Biltmore, which everybody knows what the Biltmore is. Super cool hotel. The room was small. The wedding was small. I think I booked this couple over the phone probably 2 years ago. I'm sure this was a reschedule. I think it was even on a Friday, so I had to leave super early that morning, drove all the way up there. I did spend the night, but I just remember, from the very beginning, you know how you can tell. I mean, you guys know. You do the introductions and the room is just going nuts and you're like, oh, it's on tonight.
Yep.
And I felt that, and they wanted, the CO2 cannon and they wanted all the bells and whistles, and that's usually a good sign as well. And I remember as soon as I started, or right before I started, she was like, I'm going to be honest with you. My husband is even more of a partier than I am, which the guys are usually a little bit of a reluctant partier. This guy hits the dance floor with a vengeance. And I'm telling you, by song 3, he's soaked. I mean, he's sweating. She's sweating. I'm sweating. It wasn't even a hot day. Like, it was in the mountains. It was actually very mild. But that room was just electric. And they look at me and they go, can we come back there? And I'm like, absolutely, come back here. And so they get back there, and just the guy happened to be there, and he's pop, pop, pop. And I looked at him at the end of that party. I was like, man, I don't know you, but I'm begging you, please, please, please. I need those photos. Like, I was by myself. Saquon, the guy that's been going out with me, he works, a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, so he couldn't go that morning. And I was like, please. And about a week ago, so 2 weeks after the wedding, I guess, he sent them, and there's 7 other ones that are just magic from that night. He just he understood the assignment, as they say, man, and he got me. He, whether they wanted him or not, he didn't care. He was like, I'm shooting this DJ. He's killing it. And so that's how the picture came
And about. Jason, I'm going to, first of all, throw you a compliment, because I think you understood the importance of capturing content before pretty much anybody in our industry. I mean, you started doing vlogs before anybody even really knew what that was. And I remember sitting in the old office at Elite, so over 10 years ago, looking at some of your vlogs going, that's fucking brilliant, man, what this guy is doing, capturing. And so you have been on the cutting edge of this, and you've understood the importance of it. And as I'm scrolling through now, looking at your Instagram, man, you just get such incredible images at every single event. So share with our listeners why has it always been a priority to you, and how have you gone about kind of doing it in such a professional manner?
But hold on, Jay, before you get started, hold on one second. So 2 things. Just as most of us have, he has at Jason Jani, and then it's at SCE Event
Great.
Group.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I just want you to look at those.
I just
almost
assumed
while
every
he's
one of our
talking.
listeners already
They
is
may,
connected.
they
But
may,
yeah, but
they
you're right.
should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But if you want to see somebody operating at the highest level, go look at those as he's speaking. Go ahead, sir.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this because I just did this video, which I'll mention at the end of this. And I was thinking about, like, even from our last episode, we talk about like maybe mistakes we made. Yeah. And one of the things I wish I've always done was when I go back to 2008 and I invested in my first camcorder, which was a Sony hand cam. It was like $699. I know, like, when I bought it, I literally thought I gave myself like an anxiety attack because if I spent that much money on a camera to videotape my parties, like I literally was freaking out. And I wish I could go back then and spend 3 times as much money on the content, you know, just so I could have gotten that much better. And those videos still live on YouTube, which is insane because when I first started sharing this content, people were like, well, why are you're letting people know your secrets? You're letting people know what you're doing. Like, what are you going to do next time? And I'm like, no, there's no secret. Like the next time it's going to be a little bit different because that's a different party, you know? And a lot of people didn't understand at the time, but I embraced that philosophy because quite candidly, I felt like I was a very small fish in a very big sea of people. And I didn't have the finances to spend, you know, $5,500 on a Flash website. I didn't have the ability. I didn't have a whole team doing everything. It was just me at that point. So I was doing all these crazy events. I was having a great time, and no one would believe some of the stories I would say. So I'm like, shit, the only way I know how to do this is start taking pictures of this. Cause like, you know, the DJ that was at the Southgate Manor the night before had more people and less people on the dance floor. And here I am rocking a party with 300 people jumping up and down like it was a nightclub and it's a wedding. And back then weddings were very different, you know, like, so when I think about things, I think about, you know, like it was really just a way for me to share the message of what I was doing in a different way. And if you think back to platforms, you know, I started sharing content on YouTube when it was an infant and Facebook when it was just becoming popular amongst people outside of college because I was moving my community from MySpace to Facebook, you know, and like it was a different way of life then. But because I was doing all these different types of events, when I would work in certain clubs, they would always take pictures of the VIPs that were there. They would always take pictures of the pretty people that were there. They would always take pictures of like the whole room full with people. And I was like, how can I need to like take this thought process and apply it to like these private events? Because back then you didn't really see what a lot of people were doing. You just knew the name or the logo or whatever. And that's really the initial push for me to start doing this. And that was like 2007, 2008. Like if I was to date back, you know.
It's crazy, man, that you've been doing it.
So for a listener who says, okay, great, I understand content's important. How do I go about collecting it? There's basically 3 ways represented right here on this podcast. I have a photo and a video division, and they work with my DJs on a regular enough basis, not every single event, but regular enough that I get this content. I'm overflown with I can't get to all the content I have. Joe, you mentioned begging. You know, if you're working with a photographer and he gets a great shot and you just you send, you know, a dozen emails over the next 3 weeks saying, I'll take you to lunch, I'll do whatever. But both of you also bring somebody with you, right? So let's talk about that. What does that entail? Does that get in the way of the professional photographer and videographer who are on the job? If I'm a listener and I say, great, I want to get these images, who do I bring with me? How do I train them? Where do I find them? That type of thing.
Before Jay goes, I just want to say, I want to throw in a couple of things. First and foremost, my guy's not a photographer, not a videographer, has no skill set in it. Helps me set up, break down as well. You know, he's that guy. He just, if you're watching this on video, you know, we either use something like this. It's almost like a selfie stick with a light, or one of those Gorilla Pods with the G7X. In fact, the bag is sitting over here beside me right now, charging up. And then I can get somebody to kind of piece it together. Right. Whereas Jason, and I don't think any of my DJs listen to this. Even if they do, sorry guys, don't take offense to this. I have the least creative DJs on my staff of 16 that are in the entire world. There's zero. There is not one creative person on my entire staff, and they probably would admit that. They're not good at social. They're not good at shooting. They're not good at editing. They're not good at creating remixes. Whereas Jani seems to have this team of like 7, 8 guys, Jeff Scott Gould, Christian, Birdman, all these dudes that I've met from SEE are, it's like he's spawning these little creative geniuses.
Right, but Jason, Jeff's on a typical Saturday night, Jeff Scott's doing his own event, so he's not the one capturing your content, right?
Right. No, but he'll have someone with him. So like our philosophy and our I think the culture that I tried to create at SCE is everyone kind of saw the benefits of opportunity that were created by producing massive amounts of incredibly
your own marketing. Yeah.
Right. Like, and the conversations of waiting for that person to send you photos, like I got tired like very quick of like sending the email and like begging for a picture. And we have that classic hands up photo we use in a lot of SCE stuff still to this day. It was shot at the Grand View in Poughkeepsie, New York for Joe and Jackie Murano. And that wedding really like shifted my thought process on this whole thing, because not only did that, I think that was the pivotal point in my life where I was like, yo, I have to like have a run at creating this company or just doing this professionally as like full on. But if I think back to it, that was the point where I was like, we need to be able to have somebody do this. So how did I do it? Well, I invested a little bit of money into tools, and then I started to train the people that were next to me. And first I focused primarily on video content, because I'm like, a picture could be staged. Like the video is like really what I think is the impressionable thing, right? With real audio, the real lighting, like this is the pandemonium that went down in this room. And we started recording content every one of our events. And to this day, I have a 70 terabyte drive on my computer that I'm talking to you on, and it's loaded with every single one of my events that I've done probably since then. I could go back point in time to anywhere and like have footage from that party, which is insane, because whether it's a club appearance, whether it's a VIP party, whether it's this, unless it's something that we're not permitted to shoot video, we have content. And it could be a time lapse, it could be, big room stuff, it could be a whole detailed shot. But over the years, like we've had to bob and weave with kind of the complexities of our industry and like the needs of like the business. So we essentially, there was that small toolkit I originally bought has evolved to now like a full photo, like literally we roll out with sometimes more equipment than even some photography companies have. And that's something that like, I don't know if I'm proud of it, or it just shows you a shortfall on the other side of this industry that we, like everywhere is different. So
Jason, does your guy get any pushback from the professionals on the job, the hired photographer? Does he ever say, who the fuck are you with this camera? Get out of my way. Or is that not an issue?
Typically, no. And it's because how we approach it. Like, first off, we introduce ourselves. We tell them what we're doing and what we're going to capture. And then like we show them what we're doing, and we don't give those to the client. We don't sell them anywhere. Like those are for really our marketing. And like, if I use them during the event in some capacity, usually they're like, yo, those are really good pictures, or that's really good content. Like we're even now moving the bar again, and now we're not even like, some of the booths I use have screens built into them and all these things, and like we always would put some pictures, or I do some animated stuff like from that party day or whatever. Now we're doing like full on, we're doing like, by the time they sit down for dinner, we're showing them like what transpired the first half of the wedding in a loop that goes on the screen, so people are like, what
that just happened, right?
But from time to time we do get pushback, but it's just a matter of like explaining and showing how we do it. Like you have to, I think the biggest thing is for DJs that are looking to capture content is to like stay in your lane and not try to like, you can't get in the way of what they need to do. Like, you have to be mindful of where they're shooting and how they're shooting so that you're not on the other side of the floor capturing the footage at the same time. So you're in their pictures, so how do we fix that? We buy, longer lenses. We buy, we buy the tools needed so that we don't have to be on the dance floor with them. And sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. It really depends on the party, the vibe. And I think a good conversation is really like the first step in getting a healthy balance and a healthy relationship with the people that you're working with. We're looking for like 2 shots during a first dance. We want 2 shots, like one of which is going to be used, and they're going to take 500, or whatever,
Sure.
I also want to add, last week, Brian Bonacisi talked about the importance of contracts and having a lawyer look at it. I'm you can weigh in here, Jason, too, if you want, Joe. We have a clause in our contract about having the right to use any promotional materials from a wedding. Every once in a while, a client will ask us to strike that, and we certainly will. I'm not going to lose a sale over it. But that's a clause that we have, and that protects us so that if a client afterwards, and we've never had this happen, but if a client says, hey, why I didn't know you were taking pictures and using them, it's in their contract. So if you are going to go that route, and I think you should, because it helps tremendously with promotion, I think you should add a clause like that to your contract.
I agree 1,000%. Please make sure that clause is in there. And I'm the same as Mike. If somebody told me to strike it, I'd strike it. I'm not going to lose the show over it.
Yeah, and the rare times we've had, my favorite one was a groom called us about 3 years after his wedding, and he said, hey, you guys made a demo for my wedding. Can you take it down off of YouTube? And we were like, sure, yeah, why? He goes, well, because my wife left me, and my friends send me the link to that.
Oh, my God, I remember this story.
Just to break my chops. And I said, sir, I will take it down, but you need better friends.
You need new friends.
like I understand the first time is kind of a joke, but after a while, you get some shitty friends. So,
awful.
But yeah, I mean, we will strike that clause, and we will not use content if we're asked. But it's very rare. As a matter of fact, I think, let's face it, we live in a day and age where most weddings are as much about the content and the social images and video. Brides are flattered when you use their images for promotion, because they're like, look, my wedding was so cool, and I was so gorgeous, and my dance floor was so packed that this company is using my wedding to promote. They're proud of it. So I don't think we get very little pushback. When we do, we take it down immediately, or we don't use it in advance. But it's the exact opposite. Most of our clients are, flattered. As a matter of fact, our photography company, we used to do a monthly recap, and we heard from a client once. She was like, hey, I wasn't in your monthly recap. She was disappointed that she wasn't in the monthly recap.
Right.
So yeah, don't hesitate based on, I don't think my clients want to be out there. No, they do.
Yeah, I would say like there's so many ways you can have this conversation with a potential client, and even with your team, and it's like, if someone's looking to work and they're looking to work more, chances are like a little bit of focus and energy and time invested into like social media content creation, essentially, can really pay dividends that are like, that will bring value to the table for your business for an extended period of time. So like for us, like we do a once a month session at SCE, and we've done it through the pandemic. We do it on Zoom, or we'll do it in person. And like, we'll talk about like how we edit pictures. We'll talk about how we shoot. We'll talk about lenses. We'll share stuff, like, because we all invest in different tools. Jeff Scott loves like really cool new tech, and like, he might get something and I might already have it, and he's using it totally different than the way I'm using it. So like, I'll share how I use it and I give it to him, and he's like, dude, I never even thought of doing that before. And then like, we all start growing together in a different way. And I think these are all great conversations to have, so like, you have it with your team, you have it with the clients, and like, when you have a client on the website, like you're just talking about, like, not to keep skipping thoughts and stuff, but like, they become brand ambassadors for you. So it's like such a great way to share the message of who and what you do is by like tagging someone, having them share it on their story and share it to their community. And, oh my God, did you see on YouTube, like my DJ put this video up, and go check him out. And like, now you have like all these people talking about you on a different platform, like whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, where they're sharing it to their little community of people. Like, that's what that's like the beauty of social content creation, you know. And I don't know, it's just fuel. It's fuel for your business, you know.
That's exactly what I was going to say, man. I was just going to run through a few of these bullet points that I wrote down as I was thinking about this topic yesterday. I mean, at the end of the day, this is critical for your marketing. It is hands down what has allowed us to stop doing the big wedding shows, to stop doing the ads in the magazines, because at the end of the day, if you get good content, social media is free. You just got to take the time to get it out there and push it and post it. If you don't think your couples are following you, you're wrong. Now, I'm not saying all of them are, but I promise you a lot of your couples leading up to their wedding are following not only your personal page, but the company page as well, either to get excited or in anticipation of hopefully seeing themselves on it.
And if they're not following you, they're definitely checking you out. They definitely go to your platform to look. Now, they might not hit follow and become a fan, but they are definitely. So if your last post was a year and a half ago, you're in trouble. That says a lot of bad things to a client.
Hit the reset button right now. Absolutely. I've said this before. I think at the workshop Mike and I used to do, Randy makes it a point. As soon as he sees a deposit check come in, if he can find that couple online, he follows them, the bride and the groom. And he doesn't stop when the wedding's over. He doesn't ghost them. Like, he's following people from 5, 6, 7 years ago that he did their wedding.
Great story. Just to go off of that real quick, I got a message yesterday, and this is not like, I'm not saying this to be bragging or whatever. No. I got this message yesterday, and it blew me away. I posted something like from my heart on my social media yesterday. I saw that. You know, it was like, just I'm proud of the company and stuff. And this girl sent me this long message, and essentially it's been almost 9 years since our wedding.
Wow.
Today was actually supposed to be the original date that still everyone wishes us happy wedding anniversary to us. But because of Hurricane Sandy, we weren't able to have our wedding this day. So there's a couple that was impacted by the Hurricane Sandy in the Northeast.
I remember that.
Totally shifted Mike and my world at that point in New Jersey. And she's like, I always tell the story about how crazy it was to postpone our wedding, and that you were the first person that we called, not the venue, not my photographer, not the church. I wanted to see what your availability was. And like, she's like, I figured I'd share this after seeing your post today. So
that's awesome.
This girl has followed me for 9 years, right?
Yeah.
It's like, holy cow. Like, I can't, you know, like, you think about like retention, think about like, this girl's going to tell the next, and I'm grateful for that. But like, anytime someone goes into her space of like they're planning a wedding, you know, chances are the conversation may touch on entertainment, and it's like, well, who did you use? Oh, I use Jason Jani. I use
lifetime fan.
It's like brand ambassador because of social media. You know what I mean? Like, crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Sorry.
No. I mean, it's exactly what we're talking about. And again, just in terms of enhancements or add-ons or whatever, I mean, I can't tell you, you know, how many times, you know, I've booked these LED tubes or, you know, the CO2 cannon from somebody seeing an Instagram post. You know what I mean? Like, it is, especially this year, like, oh my God, I saw that girl on your Instagram, you know, with the what is that thing? And I'm like, oh, it's a CO2 cannon. Bring that. You know, down here, that's like super rare. I mean, like, you know, we're 5 years behind you guys. Like, and so, and the last point I'll make in terms of this is, you know, Jason does have these people that are super creatives and do know how to shoot photo and video. But again, even sending somebody out with these kind of, you know, stick type cameras or a newer iPhone that shoots in 4K, or these little Canon G7Xs, like, you know, all your favorite YouTubers use, Barr and Rick Webb and stuff. I promise you, if they just shoot the dance floor, shoot, that there are people that you can hire on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, and pay them $100, and they can piece together whether you call it a vlog, maybe it's just a 1-minute reel of the night, you know, that you can post on Instagram. You can get something usable off that camera. I promise you. Like, I could give it to a child, and I promise you. Now, is it going to look like Jani stuff? No, it's not. But you are going to get a usable film from that thing, especially if you prepare them and say, look, these are the shots I want tonight. I want you to get a shot of the first dance, the parent dance, me doing intros, you know, when the couple walks in the room, like you can give them a shot list and say, Saquon, boom, get these shots tonight, man, and you can make magic from that.
Yeah, the prep in advance is really important. I have conversations with our professional photographers, and again, I keep in mind they're working for the client. They're not there, unlike Jason's guy who's there, or gal who's there specifically to capture. My professional photographers are working for the wedding, so I understand that's priority A, B, and C. But along that line, hey, since you're there, you got a great camera. Can you get but I just don't say, can you get some pictures of my DJs?
Yeah,
this is specifically what I want. Get them walking out on the dance floor for intros. If they're on the dance floor leading a line dance, if there are upgrades, when the sparklers go off, when the dancing on the clouds, and the upgrade thing is so critical. If you are trying to introduce anything new, if you've made that purchase and you're now offering
you get your money back.
Yeah, I mean it's a visual medium. Get photos, get video, and if you can do it as professionally as possible, it's the best possible thing.
From the beginning, 4 pictures. Every single party. The first is a picture of the setup with everything in it, everything working, everything on to whatever color that they're going to be using that day. The second is you on the microphone, hopefully during intros, but if it doesn't happen, you know, at some point engaging the party. Another is from behind the DJ booth, facing the crowd with everyone on the floor. I think that tells a story of what
that shot is gold. It's not always easy to get, but that shot is gold. Yes.
And then another shot of it could either be the first dance, if you can, or a picture with the bride and groom together on the dance floor with everyone around them. If you can get those 3 or 4 shots, like, you literally will amass a universe of content that will help you book massive amounts of business. I mean, like, that's
dropping gold.
It's like, those are the shots you need to have. And like, the setup shot helps you sell your services. And then the next time you meet with someone from that venue, you literally send them that picture. Oh my God, I was just there. Here's the picture. This is what it looks like. Or, oh, you're not really sold on the uplights. Well, let me show you what it's like with and without, because I have a shot of the room with and without it. You know what I mean? And like, those are so simple. Like, we used to set cameras up in the corners of the rooms that we worked in often, and we would run the room with uplights, and then we would cycle through all the colors and take like 30 pictures. Then we turn the uplights off, take a picture. And it's like, that's your sales material. Uplights, well, you show it without it, then you show it with it, in every variation of color. And it's like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's easy. That's not hard.
Yeah, it's like, they just look at it. It sells itself. You don't have to worry about it, you know?
And I'll say my last point on this that I had written down was, don't worry so much about the vanity, the views and the likes. Think about how many potential clients saw it. Like Mike said, maybe they just went to your page. Maybe they didn't like it. Maybe they just saw your setup and were like, I need to call this guy. Or they popped from there to your website. Don't focus so much and get so caught up in it that you get discouraged and quit, because I think that's the problem with a lot of us. You know what I mean? We focus on the vanity of it, and this post didn't do well, I'm gonna pull it down or whatever. I mean, I've got a million posts on both of my feeds that just tanked for whatever reason that I thought were gonna do great. And you just got to think about it bigger than that. Maybe somebody saw it and thought it was killer, and they hired us from it. You know?
Well, and not only that, like Jason said, you always have that image now for the sales meeting, whether it got traction on social or not. You know, in our sales meetings, I mean, if you're getting married at the Crystal Point, I'm not showing you a video from Clark's Landing. I'm showing you video and pictures from the Crystal Point. And the more, and we talked about this in the workshop you and I did years ago, Joe. Yeah. The more you can have images and video from every single location that you can possibly, because couples just love to see that. That not just you performing, but you performing in their room is critical. So when I literally sometimes look at a gig and go, oh my God, we're playing here. I don't have any video from there yet. I got to get a crew on that job.
When you can go into these consultations, whether it's sitting right over there or on Zoom or whatever, and you and your staff can access a Dropbox and go right to the Merriman Wynn house and just go, you know, we've set up here. We've also set up here. And one time they put us over here. Boom, 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 boom. Here it is with uplights. Boom, boom, boom. Here it is with the clouds. Like, so critical, man. Like, it just shows, if nothing else, that, oh yeah, this guy's been there a zillion times. Like, he's the person that they obviously recommend. He needs to be our DJ. Like, it's sold at that point.
Very cool. So listen, let's put a bow on this. Jason, I want to thank you. You've contributed to 3 awesome episodes for the PHDJ podcast. I know your time is valuable, so appreciate it much, my friend.
I appreciate this. Yeah, and if anyone, I'm gonna just, if you don't mind, I'm gonna, I did a video that's up on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, tell because this is relevant. So yeah,
it's like an infancy thing. Like I don't have 1 million followers and I don't get 1 million views or any of that kind of stuff, but I did dive through my complete camera bag and I share the lenses that I use, the cameras that I use. And I also show the content that is created with those cameras and those lenses. So like, you can see both photo and video in this thing. So if you're thinking about investing in it, like this is a great place to look at.
Jason, you have 4,600 followers on YouTube. So it's not like you're not exactly flying under the radar there.
You know what? It's interesting because like there's certain platforms where I have like millions of impressions or listens or views, and you know, you can get hundreds of likes or comments on things. And like this has been a YouTube endeavor, has been a very humbling experience for me. And I say it like coming from the right place. Like I'm trying to like grow this community and sharing content.
You know what you're reminding me of right now? When Jay Sims, who's my dear friend in Chicago, runs a marathon, and he gets upset when he does like 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I'm like, that's an hour and a half faster than I've ever run a marathon. Shut up.
4 hours like, faster than
I hit the wall at 25, and
I wouldn't make it 10.
Exactly.
I wish I stayed up with this. I wish I was consistent with this, like everything else. And
so when this video drops, when our podcast drops on November 18th, so this will be this video will have dropped 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
basically.
It'll say what's in my camera bag, the tools I use to capture the magic at my events with examples.
Regardless of that video, just go to his channel and make sure you're a subscriber, because he is absolutely
Jason Jani on YouTube. Push him over the 5,000 limit so we can.
And he's super regular with pushing out
ego
content
here.
Yeah,
and also when this drops, DJ Collective will have just wrapped up.
True.
So if our listeners want to find out where 22 takes place, that will be today. Today will be the big announcement.
Yep. That's right.
Always weird talking in the future and the past, but yeah. So when this podcast drops on November 18th, you will be making the big announcement about where 2022 is.
Shake the interwebs. Let's go.
Can't wait. Can't wait. And December 1st tickets go on sale.
That's right. And Mike Walter will be there in 2022.
I'm not going to get shut out this year. I'm going to be there next year. All right.
Man. Thanks everybody for listening.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. This was a great episode.
Thanks, guys.
Ciao.